We firmly believe that Black women are not only magical, but we are as invaluable and powerful as vibranium. Our podcast is dedicated to empowering Black and Brown women to embrace the transformative power of astrology and tarot. Through these intuitive arts, the Melanated Mystics will guide you to explore and connect with your deep inner magic and help you to finally release the burdens of Black Superwoman syndrome. It's time to redirect our energies inward and prioritize ourselves on this transformative journey of self-discovery. Hello, all of you beautiful melanated mystics, you beautiful, magical Black and brown girls. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Melanated Mystics. We have a very special episode for you today. My name is Halleck Hannah. I am here with my co-host and my co-creator, Carrie Myers, and we have a very special show for you today. And it was Carrie's idea, so I want Carrie to bring us in and tell us all about it.
I have a goofy smile, period. But when it's wide like this means I'm extra excited. I got my goofy smile. I got my beautiful pyrite, which is my crystal I chose for this year. Everything's gold. Everything's golden this year. And the reason why we wanted to do this episode is that we wanted to introduce you to the things that we do, to our astrology, to our tarot. What is it like to sit down with us and do a reading with us? Why our particular readings are kind of our own, kind of cut above the rest, and why we especially want you to be bringing us into your 2024 this year using astrology and tarot. So today, I am going to be giving Halleck a 2024 astrology reading, and she's going to be giving me a 2024 tarot reading, and you're going to be here to witness it.
Yes, a special one. This one's going down in the history books. I am going to resist. I was saying a little bit earlier, as Carrie and I were checking in, I have this urge to write down everything Carrie says, but there's no need to do that, obviously, because of the podcast. I'll be able to go back, and I'm going to encourage you all, when you get your readings, when you get your astrology readings, when you get your tarot readings, make sure you've got some way to get the information and go back and review it. When Carrie reads for me, she records it, and I can always do that for you with your tarot cards. And I will always give you a picture of your cards too, because of these beautiful archetypes. I want you to go back. I want you to be inspired, like what we're doing for you and what I'm going to be doing for Carrie in reciprocation is a big deal. We're looking at a picture of your year, what's going to happen. This is this is a bit of your blueprint. So, remember that. And again, I always want to add this, and I'm going to add it one more time. When you are choosing someone to do these readings, which if you're coming to Carrie or me, these are not bargain basement prices. These are not, this is a bit of an investment in your planning for the year. So not only come prepared, but know when you're choosing your practitioner, do the research, as Carrie always says, and make sure this person is living a reality and practicing in a way that you would respect and that you would want to model what you're doing after. Are they walking the talk? And are they, if you're coming to them for information about abundance, prosperity, starting a business, being more out there, taking care of your mental health, your physical health, is your reader doing that? Does your reader know how to do that? Do they prioritize their mental health, their physical health, calm, loving, familial, interaction, or with friends, that kind of thing. So that's the last thing I'm going to say before I shut up. I'm so excited. I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to try to be on mute unless I have to scream in excitement or terror. All right, go.
Okay, I want to say one thing on top of that, which is it was brought to my attention recently when someone told me, they said, you know what, the difference between what you do is you can get an astrology reading and you can get an astro counseling session. And that is what I am actually bringing to people. And I would say that's actually what Halleck is bringing to people as well, because having had readings with her, if you go to a tarot reader, have you ever had a tarot reader, or you can find someone on YouTube, right? And they do a tarot reading on YouTube, right? And they'll just tell you, this is what I see. And it'll be a 5-minute reading. Okay. Because they don't tell you anything about what to do about what they see. They're not looking in there and going, okay, I see that you are set up this way. Your psychology is set up this way. So you're going to experience this in this way. And therefore you should do things this way. They're not going to go into that. They're just going to give you just the facts, just the bullet points. And you just left there. You're just going to be left there after the situation, after the storm, right? What I really want to stress and just add on to what Halakut was saying is that consider the source, do your research, find the reader, find the counselor in astrology and tarot who is going to be guiding you through the process, who's not just going to give you a product, they're going to give you an offering. And a product says, my market research says that you should like this. Percentages say that you should like this. An offering means I will be there with you through it. That's what we offer.
Amen and hallelujah. Shamalalana, Shirabara Honda, all of the things. That's one of my faves, Cat Williams, which we'll talk about later.
Woo, girl. Woo. I should have brought some tea. I just had water, but I should have brought tea if we were going to talk about Cat.
Girl.
Okay.
Girl, let's talk about that in a live next week. But I'm gonna completely chill. And again, y'all may hear me shuffling in the background because I'm getting ready to lay out Carrie's Celtic Cross. All right. So let's go.
All right, let's get into Halakut's 2024. And before I get into 2024, I want to talk about 2023 because I always like to go back and look at the evidence. I'm like that. So imagine, you hear the Law and Order, like the beginning of Law and Order right now, and you hear the gavel going, gong, gong, okay, because this is the evidence of 2023. When I was doing our research for 2023, because Halakut and I recorded our first season of this podcast in 2023. I talked about, because we were both Leos, that we were able, that Leo, it was the year for Leo of uncovering our identity and seeing ourselves in a way we had never been able to see ourselves before. And to be able to get ready for the bigger calling, but we first had to do the inner work of expanding to meet the vision of ourselves that we had never been able to even conjure before. Now, what's interesting about Leo is that we're often always in the spotlight. And that's great, right? We are often, showing up and being the people that put things out there and look at this, look at that, right? But we're often reacting to what other people are telling us is interesting. That's like, oh, okay, I'll go stand next to that because so-and-so said that was interesting. 2023 was about Leos going, what do I think is interesting? Who am I? What do I want to show up? What do I want to broadcast? What do I want to put out into the world? What is my heart telling me? Not just use my light for anybody, use my light for anything. Okay. So 2024 is when that really comes together. Okay. It's like we've been doing the onboarding process in 2023, and 2024 is when you are fully aligned with that identity and you get to shine it out in your full authenticity. Now, I'm going to talk about the major top 3 transits for Halakut this year. And when we get into prediction astrology, you want to always look at the rising sign. The sun sign is quite general, okay? And but the rising sign represents your whole life. What's happening, which planet was crossing over the entire this planet with the moment that you were born? What planet was cresting over the eastern hemisphere of the Earth the moment that you were born? Because that is your overall stamp. And Halakut is an Aries rising. She runs triple fire, as we have come to know in the last episodes. So if you haven't heard season 1, go back and check a look or listen to when we discovered that. Okay. Aries, this is for all y'all Aries out there, but also specifically for Halakut because I'm looking at her chart right now. Okay. Again, that's one of the reasons also you want to go to a reader, an astrology reader, a tarot reader, astrology counselor, tarot counselor, because you can go on YouTube and you can get all the general readings that you want. Okay. But they're going to be for all the people with that particular sign. An actual reader and counselor is going to be looking at your aspects, your degrees, and will be able to give you definite dates for you particularly, and definite times for you particularly, not just the general everybody who's an Aries rising or everybody who's a Leo. Okay. First, I'm going to get into the biggest, I would say, There's a lot here, Calicu. But I would say the biggest one, the first one coming up for you is very soon. It's on January 11th, 2024. And that is when Mars in Capricorn moves into your 10th house of career. And it conjuncts with Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, luck, wealth, all the damn things. Okay. And Mars represents movement. Okay. And when it's in the sign of Capricorn, it means your career. It sits at the toppest place at your chart. So what you can look forward to is about 2 years of major shifts in career that take place over the next 2 years. This is kind of once in a lifetime type of energy. It's a rise in phenomenal success, phenomenal purpose, and phenomenal success in career and reputation. It's literally like a graduation. Now, I'm going to say that this doesn't happen all the damn time, especially when it's conjuncting Jupiter. Okay. For Halaku, Jupiter sits in her 10th house, which means it's she's already abundant when it comes to career and things like that. I will say though, this is a whole conjunction with Jupiter, which means it's bigger than big. That's why I said it's a graduation. It's the culmination of a lifetime of work. It's the graduation day for Halaku. And so, like I said, because Halaku, I've looked at Halaku's degrees, I've estimated that this will begin on January 11th, but energy will actually be taking place over the next 2 years. So it's not just going to start then, and it's not just going to end then either. It's going to be a 2-year graduation is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And it's been a long time coming. I also want to say something about people who have natal Jupiter in the 10th house. Okay. Wherever we have Jupiter in our astrology chart, it's where we get luck, where we're able to manifest things very easily, right? But also pay attention to Jupiter being the largest planet in our known universe. It can tend to gluttony and overdoing it. And we often forget about the things that come to us quite easily. We always remember where Saturn is on our chart and how we had to work really hard and it seemed like everybody else got it but us. Jupiter, we forget because it comes so quickly, it comes so easily. But we're also, when I see Jupiter in the 10th house, and I say this also because I've known lots of clients with this, but also I was married to someone who had Jupiter, who has Jupiter in the 10th house. This is kind of the golden fistcuffs when it comes to career. It's like you're being offered career left and right, but is it the one you actually wanted? So these people often, I don't want to say get stuck, but they often have such an abundance of other people wanting them to come and be the unicorn for their company, or you would be perfect for this job. And then they give you promotions and they offer you things and you are not necessarily happy, but the abundance keeps coming, right? So it's really hard actually for people with Jupiter in the 10th house to actually go after what's meaningful for them and to choose a job that's meaningful for them. This is where Halaku gets that graduation. Having brought her unicorn energy to everyone else's ideas, now they come to her authentic self, her authentic career that she chose. All right. And we're all going to get to witness it. That's the best part because it's happening in her 10th house of career in public space. Okay. Now, the second major one comes right after January 11th. It starts on, it looks like February 17th. Okay. Right after Valentine's Day, we are having, Halaku is having Chiron's North Node in Aries is conjuncting in her first house. Her first house is her ascendant, which means her entire life. Now, you've probably heard of Chiron before. It's often called the wounded healer. It means your deepest psychological wound. I can get all into, the lore if you want to. But what it means is when Chiron is on the move, it means the healing, the final releasing of something. Okay. So this is a transit that has not been seen since 1969. So this is a huge and rare event. And it affects the rest of your life. This is a healing that will happen and it will be there forever. Okay. First things first, healing and reset of the identity, the entire identity for the rest of your life. Basically, you will not recognize yourself anymore. And because we're talking about the whole identity, we have to talk about the sun and the moon. This represents the father and the mother. So any issues that you have experienced with the father and the mother comes to complete healing this year. And you may be seeing this already, to be honest. Some of this Chiron energy, Chiron moved into the sign of Aries last year. And so it's been steadily moving its way, steadily getting to this place where it will be in conjunction in your first house. So this is the releasing of any psychological issues or wounds from the mother and the father for the rest of your life. Pretty big. Pretty big.
Oh, Carrie, I want to say so much, but I'm just trying to listen. This is and I've actually put on makeup today, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't want to. That one's yeah. Do you want to speak up real quick before we get to the last one? And then I get to the rest of your chart.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to integrate and not cry.
Oh, honey.
And absorb. This is I'll never forget when you first talked to me about Chiron and about Aries and about how it was about the self. And all of my work and my therapy over the years, I'll never forget the way my therapist would talk about like the true self, the authentic self, and how when trauma happens at a certain time, the true self is displaced or never has a chance to develop. And when she had this wonderful little way of showing it like a sandwich, and how when the work happens and the healing actually happens, you sit in the true self, and then you're able to move forward. So this is all ringing. This is all very resonant. So I'll just say that for right now.
So much of this is about expanding to meet it, right? Because a lot of times people will hear these things and they'll say, wow, I can't imagine being able to do that. And they will resist because they haven't shifted their identity yet. So whenever you hear things like this, everybody, I want you to just open up and say, yes, me too. Yes. And I also, right? This is here for me. There's nothing that's coming up that is not my blessing, right? So I can move into this with ease. I can expand into this. No more resistance.
Yes.
And then let's see the third major transit for this year, and then I'll get into some of the other transits that I think are exciting, but maybe not as exciting. Okay. Are on April 8th. So all of your major transits are happening in the very first 6 months of 2024. Okay. So get ready. April 8th. Well, this is actually huge for everybody, but because you're an Aries rising, this is especially big. This on April 8th, we will all be experiencing a total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. So this is going to be seen. There are actual places throughout the US. By the way, this is not a mistake. You will be able to see this in the US because 2024 marks the US birth of a nation, basically, rebirth of a nation. Those were the same aspects that were in place during the American Revolution and the Tea Party, and removing ourselves from the British 13 colonies, all that business happening this year. Okay, rebirth of the American story, basically. So as part of that rebirth, April 8th, we have a total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, which you will be able to see at multiple different points in the US. So you'll find this year, you're going to find people traveling to all these different little spots. It looks like it goes right through kind of like the Four Corners states and kind of the middle Midwest and down. So you'll find people convening in all these different places this year to view this solar eclipse from the US. This eclipse will be occurring over the entire year. So it'll take place from April 8th until March 2025. So a solar eclipse is like an entire year of things that are happening as the aftermath, okay? An eclipse is a doorway. It's a portal. So what it represents is something closing and something opening in a major way. This is like quantum physics going on here. So again, this eclipse is happening in your career house, in your 10th house of career. Destined change in identity and career, period. Okay. So get used to seeing Alicu's face. Okay. She's going to be everywhere. All right. And it's going to be, and well deserved, by the way. But this is one of those things that could only happen now. Do you see that, Helicu? It's like everything was building up to it. And then I want to talk just a little bit about the two other major transits that are going on for you this year. And the first one is coming up. It's actually coming up in January 20th, which is very soon. And that is when Helicu will be having Pluto move into Aquarius. Now, Pluto moves into Aquarius for the entire planet on the January 20th, you may have heard. Okay, Pluto representing deep truths. Pluto represents the breaking down of something so we can experience the deep truth of something. Okay, it's Scorpio energy. And when it moves into Aquarius, it represents the people, humanity. So Pluto in Aquarius means the deep truths of humanity, community, environment, all of our bullshit being torn down so that we can see our true essence, our true light, our true gifts. And this is why you see people literally going through, transcendence, meditative, a higher elevation of the consciousness. This is what we're talking about here. Stripping away what is getting in the way of us seeing our true authentic selves and coming together as a truly lit planet. Okay. Big stuff, right? So each of us has got a place that Pluto is moving into in our charts, all right? And because Pluto is moving into the sign of Aquarius, wherever you have Pluto in your chart represents how you are meant to show up for the collective over the next 20 years. This is how you show up for the collective, how you contribute to the collective. And for Helicu, Pluto is moving into her 11th house. Now, the 11th house is a fame house. Okay. So Pluto has been going through her 10th house for the last decade, basically removing all of the things that were getting in the way of her seeing her deep truths about her identity, her public appearance, her reputation, her career. I'm pretty sure Helicu started, her career was a very different place 10 years ago. She probably didn't even know what she wanted to be doing. She was doing stuff that other people wanted her to do instead of who she actually was. Now that Pluto has gone through that 10th house, it's like, this is what you were born to do, baby, right? So now it's moving on. And the 11th house is the house of reward. So all the work that you did over the last decade to bring your true self to light is going to be rewarded. The 11th house, it is a fame house. It represents community. It represents social media in this day and age. It represents technology. It represents global recognition even. Okay. So the 11th house is, now remember, it also is about deep truths, the deep truths. So Pluto takes away things so that you can become more powerful in a certain area. And when the 11th house represents our friends and our community. So you may see some of your friends and community that you have now taking a step back. Okay. And taking a step back in order for new friends, new community to come in to now fill the space that you have created for them. Okay. But yeah, again, like I said, look for Helicu. Remember, this face is going to be everywhere.
And it'll be right next to Carrie's. It'll be right next to Carrie's.
Thank you. And then finally, because I know we got to get to the next thing, there is a Saturn transit. And I always tell people, Pluto represents deep truths and power and coming into power, but so does Saturn in its own way. And Saturn represents how we become disciplined in order to reach our goals, right? So remember before I was saying this is Helicu's graduation day, right? Saturn represents when you become a master at something, having gone through school, having gone through the steps to become a master. What does it take to become a master? You have to take away the rose-colored glasses about the thing that you're pursuing. You have to become mature. You have to become disciplined. You have to say, look, this is what it takes to get there. Tenacity, integrity, right? And so Saturn came into the sign of Pisces, which represents those, rose-colored glasses last year in March. And so around that time, you might have noticed a lot of celebrity breakups, a lot of celebrities getting sober, a lot of public figures really starting to look at how their lifestyle perhaps was getting in the way, and how, they needed to become more disciplined. This is when a lot of people started saying, I need to start getting my act together, right? For the thing that I want. So everybody's got a placement of where Saturn went into. For Halakyu, that was the 12th house. This is a psychic house, meaning all of Halakyu's unconscious, any sort of sabotage, any sort of karmic stuff that's been in play, her life that comes from her family lineage and not even from her, is she's about to get completely disciplined, become a master at that. Well, this is kind of like a psychic channeling, that kind of stuff, like coming into power, coming into, going to school. It's like going to Hogwarts, okay? And understanding yourself and all your inner workings and being able to channel other people's inner workings. And at the end, this is a 3-year transit. You will be getting your master's, you will be getting your degree, and basically becoming a channel, being able to, really hone in your psychic and intuitive gifts. And after that, you'll be becoming an authority, because that's when Saturn moves into your first house and everybody will be able to see it. Okay.
I love the way you teach us about Saturn and you help orient us to Saturn, because people, the way y'all talk about it in the zeitgeist, y'all make it sound so terrifying and limiting. And I feel like the way you talk about it helps me understand it in a different context, in a way that feels freeing, and that I'm acknowledging it. Like, what are the limitations? Like, what are the restrictions? And what do I need to learn? I love the way you talk about how it's like even the symbol looks like sit down. Like, it's yes. Sit down. Sit down. You need to learn. Like, you need to learn about this. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say that.
That was perfect. That's exactly, that was the last transit. So that's kind of the end of what you're, but there's quite a bit going on. But that's almost like your training wheels, right? That's the thing that will be holding you together through all of this new stuff, new abundance, is that ongoing discipline, that ongoing homework around, each time something new happens for you, Halakyu, it'll be about channeling source, tapping into those intuitive gifts, listening, coming back to, okay, that's new out there, but what's going on in here, right? When you become a master of your own mind, my God, you're an avenger at that point. Okay. So that's what's happening, and it's big and it's huge and it's beautiful. And I'm just so excited. It's happening at a time when we all get to witness it with Halakyu. We get to see her transform and change. It's just going to be magical.
Carrie, when you said that about gaining control, like over your, or becoming a master, like of your own mind, it reminds me of once somebody was developing a product. It was like a mom around here was developing some kind of software product. It was a line for tween clothing or something, and she wanted me to be a part of a focus group. And she asked me what I most wanted for my daughter, and I said I want for her what I most want for myself and for all women, and that is for us to have complete control and dominance and dominion over our own mind, our own body, and our own spirit. And I was like, if she has that, I don't know what else I could wish for. I don't know what else as a mother I could wish for her. So I'm always a little startled when I get readings. And I'm less startled than just kind of overwhelmed with kind of happy tears. It is such a joy to be at this age and level of experience where I don't have to question. I'll never forget, Carrie, when you first did my first reading, you're like, well, some of this stuff is just already ordained, Halakyu. You just have to walk into it. It's already there. So why don't you just, that 75% of your mind or your emotions that you were using to stress and worry about stuff, why don't you let that go? Because it's coming. It's ordained, and you just need to, this is what you need to know to walk into it, to lean into it. Which means, Carrie, we have so many exciting things that are going to happen. And I know my role in it. I know my role and I know what it is I'm supposed to do. And readings from you help me hone and refine that. I'm not joking, y'all. This is how I'm going to read it. I can't emote and respond in a way I want to, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally take this and play it back. But I'm going to have to integrate some of it, and I'm going to have to calm the fuck down, because my little heart is I'm really vibing right now, y'all. When we do that little spell bubble of protection, I learned to do it from my heart, thinking about the sun and sunlight, and it radiates out from my heart for this like either a bubble of protection or a bubble of power or a bubble of energy. And I feel like it's overflowing right now. And oh my goodness, this makes so much sense, Carrie. Can we get started with you? Because
Well, before you do that, I want to just say real quick, I'm glad you talked about protection. Okay. Because that's also a note that I have here for you. Okay. And that is like, there's a reason I'm wearing my little evil eye, one of my little evil eyes today. Got my little evil eye, one of my evil eyes that I got down in South Africa. Because with great power comes great responsibility. Yes. And being this much in the public eye does come with people who have not healed certain things yet, right? So it's important for you, Halleck Hugh, and we're all going to hold this for her. This is why I wanted to say this while we were on this podcast. We're all going to hold the evil eye for you. We're all going to be protecting you this year, okay? But, this is the truth of certain things. We trigger other people with our abundance. And all that's doing is when you get triggered by somebody else, it's just telling you what's up next for you if you will be willing to receive it. Okay. And so this is us protecting Halleck Hugh. This is Halleck Hugh. I'm sure, she's a hoodoo. She knows how to protect herself too. But I'm just putting it out there for all y'all listening. This is part of your work that I'm doing, that I'm calling you into. Halleck Hugh is protected through this whole journey.
You know how people used to say, like, I'm covered by the prayers of my grandmother and my ancestors? Like, as tough of a relationship as I did have with some of my ancestors, I've always known that, but I've never believed it. I don't know. I hope that makes sense. And protection of our work, protection of our rituals for me, also with my human design, protection of my head, because I have an open head center. And I have a tendency to let other people's stuff, energy, ideas, kind of, if I'm not careful, they get in there and I start operating from somebody else's system, like as opposed to mine. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful, Carrie. I am. Y'all need to, okay. We're going to have all of our links to get in touch with us. I am blessed. I always say all the time, I am blessed and highly favored. I knew I was when Carrie and I became friends. Y'all, again, I say all the time, when I became friends with a pastry chef and astrologer, I thought, yeah, it's true. All this is true. I am blessed. I truly am. But I want y'all to share in this blessing and in this insight that Carrie is able to give us, and the care with which she does it, the seriousness with which she does it. Please, please, please get into her world while you can, because she's ridiculously busy. And Carrie, I'm going to have to segue, because as we get into your Celtic Cross, as I get into my reading for Carrie, I read for Carrie all the time. Like, I read for Carrie even when sometimes she doesn't give me permission. Like,
she'll just be like, here, I see this. And I'll just be like, where'd you get that from? Well, yeah. Yeah. I love it. Are you kidding me?
I know. I've gotten very good at shuffling the cards like this. Can y'all even hear or tell that I'm shuffling the cards right now? Like when I'm talking to Carrie, because a lot of times we're Zooming or we're on Google Meet, and I'm like, she ain't really asked for permission, but I might see something like that I can help. So I do little mini readings for Carrie a lot, because she's been going through, oh my God, like so much this last year with these major transitions. Forget our project, this podcast. Carrie is doing many things. So when I was working on her Celtic Cross, which is what I decided to do for Carrie's reading, I wish more people asked me for Celtic Crosses, because they're perfect for things like this, for planning, like our spell casting. Like, are we trying to are we trying to birth something major, a book, a social media presence, a big project? Are we starting a grad program? Are we thinking about starting a family? Oh, building a house, taking a major trip, like a relocation. These are perfect opportunities for a reader to do something along the lines of a Celtic Cross, which, as far as I'm concerned, is that Rubicon. If a reader can lay you out a good Celtic Cross, it's probably okay for you to consider doing it professionally, or taking your hobby from, just your interest in something like tarot or oracle, and taking it to the next level. So I love this opportunity to do this for Carrie. And speaking of which, first of all, I just want to say for 2024, those of us that are tarotologists, we like a card of the year. And our card of the year, Carrie, believe it or not, is card number, in the major arcana, it's card number 8. It is a strength card, which is the card of Leo. And I just pulled this for myself when I was traveling. So of course I want to make sure that we carry you to know that this is your year, girl. This is the year for that archetype. We are shining. We are living and becoming comfortable in the spotlight. And most importantly, when we look at the strength card, this was not necessarily a part of Carrie's reading, but it is because it's kind of the foundation. What we see is this beautiful kind of femme creature, like the curly hair, flowers in the hair, white garment, beautiful, tranquil, sometimes a little bit of a seductive, cheeky look on her face. And she's caressing the big, beautiful, the noble lion that is still strong, but is nestled up against her. And she has her hands in the mane, and in some decks, hand literally in the mouth of the lion. And so what this means is this beautiful coming together of the fierce, ferocious, noble beast that lives inside of it, living in harmony, walking hand in hand with that beautiful, soft, very often glamorous, warm, golden, beautiful exterior. So it's absolutely one of my favorite. It's one of my absolute favorite cards. And that is how we're getting started for the year, Carrie. So just that archetype, just the begin. I know you feel comfortable sitting in and understanding that. Indeed, because you have to explain it to us all the time, because you have to explain it to us all the time. So that's where we are for the year. But for Carrie in particular, and the Celtic Cross, y'all, is a beautiful collection of, depending on how you learn it, about 10 cards. And the card that we like to start with right in the middle, and I'm going to try to explain it to you. So there's, there's the first card, there's a crossing card, there's 2 on the side, there's one above, there's one below. And then on the side, we have a beautiful column of 4, and each card represents something. So Carrie, as we get started, I just want to say the card that we get started with, card number 1, the situation, where we at. I call it sometimes my cash box of a heart. Nothing makes me more excited. I never would have guessed that I would wanted to be an entrepreneur or hang out with other entrepreneurs because my mother was an entrepreneur. But the card of the entrepreneur, the card that makes me so happy, is not just the Queen of Pentacles, but the Ace of Pentacles. Why? Because the Ace represents opportunity, and opportunity around what? Pentacles, care. Coins. What we like as entrepreneurs, no matter how much we're in this for the nobility of the work and the love of the work and the love of the work. We live in a world, in a system where I hope you can get a really great view of this card. And girl, this was right smack. So the situation where we are right now. And of course, I know this, and I already know we're off to a great start because Carrie has a million projects going on, like the rebranding of Self-Carrie and what she is doing in terms of events, guesting on podcasts, creating new pillars of the business, launching 2 podcasts. Carrie has another podcast that's going to be coming out, changing her price structure in the different places and the different milieu that she wants to hang out in. So right off the top, we're getting started with that, Carrie. This is going to be a huge year for that, for opportunity, the universe opening a door, the universe like throwing open a window and a fresh breeze coming through, planting your dream seed. And again, I want to take this as a time to educate everybody. What it's letting us know is that as you get started with whatever the coins, whatever the pentacles represent for you, does it represent a new home? Does it represent an opportunity to do something with our physical bodies to make change here in the material world? It means that the soil is fertile. You've got your seeds. The sun is shining, and a rainstorm is on the way. It means that everything is set up for success with that. And so all you have to do is put your shoulder to the wheel, which I already know Carrie's done, your nose to the proverbial grindstone to get it done. So Carrie, that's where we're getting started. Without a doubt, one of the most optimistic cards for the businesswoman, for the Queen of Pentacles. So that's where we are getting started, the situation. where we are right now, which gives us an idea of where a lot of focus and a lot of time and energy and physical energy is going to go. And that is important, especially when we start talking about the physical body and the corporal, that aspect of Pentacles. All right. So that's where we're getting started. Now, card number two, the crossing card, the card that indicates what we need to keep an eye on, what can hinder, what can challenge us in pursuit of this over the next year, of that beautiful Ace of Pentacles. Okay. So the crossing card carries the Five of Pentacles. This has been a card that has come up for you before. And this is a card around challenges around health, like challenges around our physical health, how we feel, how we're taking care of ourselves. And the wonderful thing about the fives in general kind of suck. And this is a card that's come up with Carrie before, especially with all of the ripping and running she's done over the past year, relocating, finding a new domicile. There have been a few health hiccups that have come up, or a few things that have come up, some stress around the body. So Carrie, that's going to be the thing that needs to take priority as you make your plans and you're moving forward in the year. And the thing about the Five of Pentacles that I really like, it kind of shows two people outside when you, and this has come up before in some of our readings. Carrie, like a lot of us, has a tendency when she's going through it manifests itself physically. And physically in a way like where she has to stop what she's doing. It's not like, oh, I got an earache today. No, it's like, well, like my left arm is numb. Like I don't feel like he's like my eye ain't working. Like what's good? How like you came me today? Because so I laugh, but this is serious. Like so, and Carrie is someone that is very much in tune and in touch with her physical body. She's in it. She's embodied. She is absolutely present. And so Carrie, in the busyness, in the work, in the opportunity, the traveling, the maybe late nights, juggling the social life and, getting the work done, saying yes to, guesting on things, podcasts, like just new opportunities to do things. Let's keep in mind and keep a finger on the pulse of our physical health, because that'll be the thing that slows you down. It will not be opportunity. It will not be because of mental stress you're going through or because you're in some kind of emotional crisis. It will be because care needs to be taken in the physical body. So that's good for you to know going forward. And also, Carrie, when hitting, the great thing about the crossing card too is that to me, it's representative of roadblocks, challenges, stumbling. So when that happens, always let the first thing you do be the check-in on the physical health. How am I feeling? Like what's going on? Have I done, are my doctor's appointments? Have I scheduled all my appointments? Am I going to all of my appointments? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? To my Melanated Mystics that are listening, when that Five of Pentacles card comes up for you, don't gloss over it. It's for real. And even though it's a five, and the fives in general suck, they represent the Rubicon, the thing you got to get past, the hardest part. With the Five of Pentacles, and Carrie, I want you to focus on this too. One of the beautiful aspects of the card is this beautiful stained glass window. There's like 5 pentacles, and it looks as though light is shining from a church. And what that symbolizes is that help is close to hand. So we're not really we're not talking about something that cannot be helped, that cannot be treated. Like help is available, and remember that. So when you figure out, oh, this is the reason this pain is settled here, or this is why I'm going through that you've got help. Help is accessible to you. So to remember that this isn't, it's not necessarily doom and gloom so much as pay attention. Like wake up. This is going to be the issue and the challenge. All right. So let's go to past. The past card, 7 of Cups. Actually a very beautiful card. It's about making up your mind, choosing the right cup. We see 7 cups, and some of them are full of treasure, and one of them has a dragon in it, and one has a mansion, and one is a cup overflowing with jewels. One is a dead soldier. And this card is about making the choice. This is in the past. So this is to let you know well done. You did it. You got past it. You had a lot of options. Maybe you didn't know what to do. It was a challenge choosing which one of these cups should you go for, to a point to where it was like, hindering you, keeping you from moving forward, but the decision has been made. You chose, do you remember, I don't know if you remember that movie, Indiana Jones, and it's the one about the Holy Grail, and in the end, the knight was like, you chose wisely. Carrie, you chose wisely. That is something, any indecision, worrying about the path, which way to go, how to handle, especially something that was really weighing on you emotionally, like maybe seeping into your dreams and keeping you in kind of that state where, I don't know if it's Odysseus and that myth or legend where him and his soldiers like ate the lotus leaves, and the sirens called them to the river and they ate the lotus leaves. And next thing you know, 100 years had gone by before they realized we need to keep it pushing and keep moving. You've gotten past that point. Okay. You gotten past that, which is great. Hallelujah. And Carrie, a wonderful card for the future. So we just looked at the situation, crossing, past. Now it's time to look at future. And I love to see a 2 come right after an ace. They're literally right next to each other in the formation.
It's beautiful.
This is the Ace of Pentacles. It looks kind of like big. This, it's very iridescent. So the light is effing with it a little bit. It's hard to see, but it's almost like a hand of the creator showing this opportunity. It's like if the hand of God, like kind of, God or the goddess handed you something. And we know in a regular deck of playing cards, what comes right after the ace, the 2, right? So we're perfect start. Excellent start. When we get started with an ace and then a 2, it means, we're well on our way. Okay. We're well on our way on your journey. For me, and what I'm seeing in the Pentacles, right? Again, money, what we're acquiring, what we're building. And so we're getting started with the ace. We go to the 2. And what is the apotheosis? What's at the end? The 10, legacy, Carrie. Like legacy, building your legacy. Beautiful, beautiful beginning. And I cannot wait to show you what's at the very end. It's so exciting. It's one of my favorite cards. So excellent start. And again, Pentacles, money, resources, your physical body. And this card in particular talks about, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of the cycle, and it's about balance. It's about doing that beautiful, delicate dance. Now, this is a beautiful iteration of that, but in the old version of the card, it shows kind of a comedic looking juggler and a C behind him, and, like juggling balls and like kind of literally juggling though, and like doing a dance. You can almost like in your mind, you can see like a medieval, kind of player, the guy with like a monkey. And what that means is it's a delicate dance, right? Like, sometimes like our everyday lives and getting started is not easy. It's not easy keeping these balls up in the air, but what's needed is balance. If there was ever a time, can everything be balanced all the time? No. But as you get started on this journey in 2022 and keeping in mind that beautiful vision of that Ace of Pentacles and also what's coming a little later for you that I'll get into, which is also Pentacles, which lets me know, like, this is where we at for you. What's going on, which is going to be so interesting, Carrie, because I know there's a lot of emotional stuff going on the side too, like a lot of interest in Carrie. And, she's newly out here mingling. And so I can already see and feel that, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to be keeping her own trail to be like, Carrie, back to the money.
Back to the money, Carrie.
I know he's fine as hell, but we're going to get back to we got to get back to the money, girl. Remember that. Remember getting, we're starting this cycle, and think about balance. Balance. That's all. We think about the duality. There cannot be too much of one without the other. And remember the 2 of Pentacles. This isn't major arcana. We got some major arcana energy coming up, but this is about everyday people and places. So, your everyday routines, your everyday rituals. How was it? Was I too much in front of the computer today? Okay, now it's time to, like too much swords energy today. Let's get some water energy. Oh, that's right. I got a bath for you. I got to get to you too. Oh, I got a spiritual bath. I got to get to you. So remembering, like, if there's been a lot of this, let's really focus on that. And let's try to remember that as we're getting started. This is so wonderful. So let's get to above and below. Influences that are divine, influences that are in the near future, that are coming from the divine, and that are how do I put this? Almost like above, almost above our pay grade. It's in somebody else's hands. What's going on up here? What is the divine? What is the divine trying to get to you, trying to channel to you in a way that you will see and feel and be able to actively interact with and engage with, as opposed to subconscious, which we'll get to later. So as above, so below. So we're at the as above part and the connecting to the divine. All right, Carrie. This is a people-shaped energy. I'm going to try to say this the most, since we're times like this, I'm like, girl, why did we decide to do this on the podcast? Because this is private, but it's real. It's an energy. It's real. I have to talk about this energy. This is the Knight. This is the Knight of Wands. And, knights are like people-shaped energy. In a more broad sense, it can be about a mission, a journey, right? Like, because that's what the knights are. They've got their mission and they are getting to it, and they get to it in very different ways. And this represents very hot energy, Carrie. It's very hot. It's very active. It's going to be very incendiary in a great way. So there's going to be a lot of activity around that. And this is the wands, right? So we're talking about the divine talking to you, working with you, giving insights and blessings through heat, attraction, excitement, a journey, a ride. And this is going to be a little people shaped. So there's going to be things coming in, like in this aspect of our lives, especially, we're all grown women here. If you're listening to this, you're probably a grown woman. There is power in our sexual energy, how we feel admired, what we attract, our magnetism, like creativity, like spark, passion, heat. There is something that the divine needs to work with you with that comes in that way. Like, I'm just that's as subtly as I can put this. So as this energy comes to you, there is something to be learned from it. Like it's new, right? This is new, and it's going to be hot, and it's going to be galloping, and it's going to be moving. It's going to be constant, and we're going to gird our loins for that, because there's something that needs to be learned through this, and there's something to be gained through it. So yeah, Carrie's social life. Carrie's a very social person anyway. She's always doing something. She inspires me a great deal, girl. She may get me to join the freaking Art Deco club of San Francisco. Anyway, she's always doing something. But so yeah, girl, your social life and what's going on in that realm of attraction, like people coming towards you, suitors coming towards you, that energy coming, there's going to be a lot. Okay. And this doesn't necessarily mean that, whoever this is or however this energy comes towards you, because I'm also getting it's going to be more than one. It's not just going to be this one thing. Maybe not forever, but there is something to be learned and something to be gained. And this is new mission. It's exciting. Oh, girl, I always love the horse and the ace of, not in the ace and the Knight of Wands. Very strong, capable looking. This is going to be fun to observe, not only as your friend and as your reader. And so let's go to as above, so below. What is in the subconscious trying to make its way up into present conscious? Or that is in the base of your spine and hasn't quite worked its way out yet. It needs to be addressed. And with this card, it's not even so much, actually, it's in perfect complement to the Knight of Wands. This is the 10 of Wands. This, and the 10 represents the end of a cycle. This is, someone carrying a big burden. A big burden. Again, the wands is about you, Carrie. It's not about anybody else. It's not about, friends, little ones, your fur baby. It's not about, it's not about colleagues. It's about you. And this represents the end of a very long and arduous chapter. I almost feel like this card is representative of like crossing the finish line of the marathon. You know, like the finish isn't always pretty, right? Like especially at the end of a long race and marathon, we think about those runners, right? Like they're sweat and tears in their eyes. Sometimes bodily functions have been crazy and kind of taken over, but God damn it, they're going to get over the finish line. This is almost like a well done, good and faithful servant. There has been a very long, arduous journey about you, within you, and the self, and you've crossed the finish line. And it's time to start completely over, and that's damn sure about to start over because the Knight of the Knight of Wands is gonna help get you through that. So yeah, well done, good and faithful servant. And the chapters that are over, you know what's over, and let's let them go. Let's leave them alone. Let them lie. You know, let them rest.
Yeah, girl, this is church. Whew, I need a fan. I need some water, holy water, all of it.
It's an interesting year. This is so interesting. I had an idea of what was going to come out, and I'm so happy to see some of these. But it's very, yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a really cool year for you. But then my favorite lady is up here at the top, and Carrie, it's a lot more physical, the here and now, experiencing it in this huge, like. You know what I mean? Like there's some years we're in our mind and in our head. Like I remember that first year of COVID, all I was meditation, planning, thinking. Like, but for you, no, this is about like the here, the now, your body, like this journey in this beautiful meat suit that you were given. This is about this physical journey. This is not a whole lot of pie up in the sky stuff. This is the walk. Now let's get started with my favorite, like we've got a line of 4 cards that go like this.
I love to watch you work, by the way. I just want to say, I love to watch you work. Do you see how physical this woman is getting? Like she is a whole routine. Like it's a day. I love it. I love it.
It's exciting. Well,
it is.
The story of this next year is just so freaking cool. And I'm going to be so annoying with you because I'm going to be like, yeah, girl, that's what this is. You remember we talked about that.
Hey.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get started with your power as you deal with all of the challenges that you're going to deal with over the year. I no matter what cards came up, I would never be so crazy as to say like, yeah, it's going to be a cakewalk for you this year, girl. No, it's never like that.
No, I know that.
Yeah, you're a very complicated, intelligent, beautiful person. Things would probably be a lot simpler if you weren't those things. So it's just to say the challenges and the way that you're going to handle this and then navigate it, and the card that I always want you to come back to and to remember, it's very beautiful. It's the card of Virgo. It's the Hermit, and it's a major arcana card. The Hermit, your ability to remove, to step out of the noise, the cacophony, the chatter, which for me, that's like, I live in that. And it's not very easy for me to do, but for you, that's going to be your superpower. It's going to be what you go to. What is the Hermit? You know, if y'all ever spending time in the UK, like, you know, there are a lot of old stately homes in the old days. Like if you're a wealthy landowner, you would actually have a hermit. You'd have somebody that has decided they don't want to live like a regular life. They basically want to live in a hut in your woods, and they want to be this kind of protective, wise, like in and of the natural elements kind of person that needs to remove themselves in order to see the truth of the situation, right? Like the Hermit, you see that they're in a hood, they're carrying actually, it's a staff, but it's actually just a long wand, which means they're able to channel, right? That's what the wand is, right? Being able to channel from the earth as well as from above. As above, so below is coming up a lot in Carrie's reading. And the Hermit carries that lantern that has the beautiful, I think it's a 6-pointed star, which represents the truth and the search for the truth, the revelation of the truth, that light in the darkness. So, and it's huge. It's a major arcana card, right? So it's big. So this means at a time or two during this next year, if you feel like I need to go to Joshua Tree and I'm going to rent an Airstream and I'm going to be in this, you know, like, and I'm just going to be meditating and reading and listening to music and painting. Like, so if you feel like that a couple of times this year, it's right, it's real, and you need to remove and you need to get away from the noise. And when you do that, man, when you come back, it will be for your benefit. And it will be for the benefit of moving forward and getting what you want this year. The Hermit is it's a super interesting card, but it's beautiful and it's inspirational in that it's almost like it's a compass, like pointing north. Like when the drama comes, let's go to the Hermit card. And girl, literally, I mean this. Like, this might be something I love telling y'all to like put things on your wallpaper. Just have this in your photo. Like, just have this in your photo collection on your phone, so that, is this one of those times? All right, let me just look at the card and like focus on it. Like, even if it's just for a little bit of visualization, a little bit of meditation, the Hermit is wonderful to meditate with and to use as an archetype. So there are going to be some times when you're going to need to remove and wander in the wilderness to find those answers. And remember, that's your superpower. Like, that's what you turn to. That's the big cannonball in your arsenal, right? Like, it's the daisy cutter. I hate to use war, but sometimes it's a war out here, girl. So that's your daisy cutter. Like, when I got to pull that out, I need to remove. I'm out, y'all. And I need to do it in order to get past this patch, of which there will be a few. This is the time to enter the woo, right? Like, this will be the time to get in deep with the candles, the crystals, the meditation, the visualization, the bathing, like all of that. So when you do remove, like, this will be the time to get into all of that versus your everyday as a human walk, right? Which is very Pentacles heavy. Oh, Carrie, this is so exciting. Okay, so there's some things about, man, the money that just makes me very excited. I'm so happy that I'm at a point where like, it's okay to say, because this is a jingly, gold and glittery reading for you. Card number 8, and this is the second card up from the bottom in that beautiful 4-card column we've got at the far right. All right, your environment and the influences around you. Okay, and oh, this is going to be very interesting. More wands, a lot of wands and pentacles. Psychic wounding. This is the 9 of wands. And it represents many things, right? Like, we see somebody, like, they have been through it, a lot of baggage, a lot of battles that were very hard won. And to me, the way I like to explain this card is each and every, because I think you can see from this angle, Carrie, right? Like, you see the guy, bandage over the head, that represents like that former psychic wounding, but still standing. There's been a little bit of baggage, absolutely still standing, still on top, still prepared, ready, with an eye towards, like the night watch. Like, I'm tired, I've been through some stuff, but I'm here and I'm still standing. And every single one of these wands behind me represents some situation, some challenge that I learned from and is now helping me maintain boundaries. Okay, like, to maintain boundaries. People that are probably going to be the most helpful around you, the ones that as you meet and you identify, where there was a time where you would have been like, I don't really like dealing with people that have had baggage or whatever in the past. No, now this is good, because they'll be able to, you'll know them, because like a lot of us that are intuitives and mystics, right? Like, we have healed from something. We have gone through something major. We have healed. We are now protected, and we've got excellent boundaries. Like, so the influences and the people around you, these are the people you want to kind of want to have around you, or at least have one or two in your, on your team that you go to. So the influences around you, the people that you should probably listen to versus other people, right? People that have been through the same experiences as you. They've gone through the same challenges. And this is, to me, sometimes this is kind of a mentor card. Like, if there's somebody out there that, you feel like I can, like, yeah, they may not come across as terribly sexy or the most popular thing, but you will know the value that they bring through the experiences that they've gone through and their ability to express it. And they'll also have amazing, excellent boundaries. Amazing boundaries. So that's around external influences and who you should be looking out for and who it's kind of okay to have close to you or take advice from.
Love it. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's not just a reading. We get the guidance. We get she just goes deeper, y'all. Okay, I'm ready.
We have the apotheosis of the suit of pentacles. We have the 10 of pentacles. Legacy building. If you have ever worried about what is my legacy, what am I building, what am I leaving that is going to endure? You remember how you told me once, Halaki, the success is just kind of, it's already written. Like you just have to just walk, do the walk, go. I love this card. This shows an elderly gentleman. This is a son. They are partnered up. They have children. The older gentleman, the patriarch, has, his loved animals down around his feet. He's covered in rich robes. He's in a townhouse, looking out on a parade. And this is a traditional version of the card. He sees not only the generation that he begot, but the generation that his son begets. So this is about what you build here on earth, it being lasting, sustaining, and you're leaving something. There is, if anything is more clear about what is going to be happening for you, the beginning, the ace, the end, legacy building, girl, this is a wonderful year for building your legacy. What lives on? What do you create? What do you put out there? It is so beautiful, and the position that it's in, your hopes, your fears. So if there was ever a concern about that, don't worry. You are building something that lives beyond you. And it's awesome because it's resource oriented. Like, it is awesome because it's resource oriented.
Oh, Halakute, I swear. I love it. She just and it also comes with some coin.
It's because of money, liquidity. You
can do beautiful things with your you can be generous.
These are.
Yes.
No, people be tripping. It's all nah, girl. Sometimes it's nice to have something to something to leave, something to enjoy, something that gives you comfort, physically, and it's beautiful. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card. This is a card I pull out when I'm like, what the fuck am I doing all this for? It's as a mom, for me, I love it because it's like, oh, I'm doing this for the next generation. Like, what am I doing this for? What is all this for? Because as an entrepreneur, we can get caught up in the minutia. There have been times I've spent 50 minutes on freaking and am I doing it right? They're doing this. Should I be doing that? And what am I even doing this for? For your legacy, for what you're going to leave, because that's where we're building. And Carrie, the best card, best one. This is so interesting. And I don't like calling women bitches, but I love this bitch. This is one of my favorite bitches in a tarot. I love her. 9 of Pentacles. I call her the Duchess. This is a girl. When this card comes up, I take my shoes off. I go to my little garden and I put my feet in the soil and I sit down because, again, Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, what comes right before the 10 of Pentacles. She is a mature woman. This is a grown ass woman. She is richly dressed. She is in her home that is boundaried by a beautiful fence trellis that is hanging heavy with grapevines. We see grapevines and grapes all over the tarot, especially in the Pentacles, right? Because a lot of the imagery of the tarot comes from the Bible, it comes from the Bible and all that stuff that the common person would have had access to seeing in the old days or reading about in the Bible or hearing a priest or whoever is in the cathedral reading the sermons talked about, because we almost if a person owns vineyards or has a vineyard, that means that they're just that means that literally they're probably a wealthy or abundant person. So notice the Duchess.
I've been having so many dreams about vineyards lately.
So girl, we need to go to Sonoma.
That's what I keep having dreams about vineyards, and I'm in a vineyard and it's somebody's vineyard but it's also my vineyard. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like it belongs to me and the other person. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know how, but I got a vineyard.
Okay. What Carrie is talking about without naming it is the King of Pentacles, and we'll have to have a private conversation. Because the funny thing is, where we live, y'all, is King of Pentacles all over the place. There's a lot of men that own vineyards or work at vineyards, or or like to go there in the weekends, or that's where people want to move right after the rat race of the South Bay, or working in the city, or this tech life, or whatever. So when we talk about that, like literally, I'm kind of like, Harry, I guess we need to get our ass to a vineyard or something. Maybe we'll be doing an event at a vineyard.
Ooh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Another thing I love about her, which now that I am not only like in partnership with Carrie at the podcast, we're friends. So like I know what's going on in her life. The Duchess has she has a selection of suitors. She has a choice. Like there's on this card, they don't have the falcon on here, but the typical version of this card has all of these elements, but there's a snail at the very bottom, and there's no snail here, and there's a falcon at the top. So when we're talking about love readings or like intimacy, this is a wealthy woman who owns her home, owns her money. She is at her ease. She enjoys where she is in this life. And we don't see kids here. We don't see husbands. We don't see nobody hanging off of her. We don't see nothing like that. This is a woman who is independent. She is on her own, but she is not. She is on her own, but she's not alone. She has a choice of lovers. And even though it's not here, the card is the card. And there's a falcon and there's a snail. And the falcon represents the suitor that's exciting, sexy, hot. Knight of Wands, which I'm going to put back over there. And the snail represents, it's actually interesting because in hoodoo, like snail and the slime, it kind of is representative of the female genitalia. And this represents somebody that's a slow, careful lover. They're slow, they're careful. Their joy is your fulfillment. Maybe not the sexiest, maybe not the hottest, maybe not the Knight of Wands, but he is doing his job. He is fulfilling his role. And there is a choice between those two. And I always say, Carrie, there is nothing sexier than a woman with options. There's nothing hotter than that. There's nothing better than that. And girl, that's your last card of your Celtic Cross. That is card number 10, the outcome.
How is that? I mean, this was just, I can't even. I'm
going to send you this picture because... and here's the thing, Carrie, there's not a lot of major arcana stuff happening here, but there's major things happening, right? This resources and this walk towards the accumulation of wealth, building your physical monetary legacy. And it's a lot of everyday do this, think about this, da-da-da-da. Like it's not necessarily this amazing, it's not like this major life transformation as you talk to us about. Like every week there's enough going on in the stars of major transits and stuff that we have to deal with. But this is to give you that theme, that roadmap. And what I want for people to know is that these tools, are they predictive? Are they looking around the corner? Yes, but they are so, what I call all the time, practically magic. Like, what do I do when I'm facing this issue? Well, we go back to the hermit. I need to withdraw. I don't know, this person or this person. Well, I have been told that there is something I need to learn through excitement, heat, like magnetism. So maybe I'm spending a little bit more time with the ones that are hot, that ignite something that's going to take me somewhere, like that creates this glow and this excitement. Because the cool part about the Duchess too is she has enough age, experience, and sense to not be taken on some stupid ass, like some stupid ass chase that she's not the architect of, right? Like if there's a chase and games playing, she's the one probably orchestrating the game. And remember, how do I start? How do I begin? With balance. With balance, with taking care. Am I in tune with the physical body? Again, Carrie. So this year with you, this is almost all fire and coins. It's all you, the self, heat, passion, excitement, energy, connection, spark, right? Right, that spark and money. Like the heat of fire, the steadiness and the fulfillment of earth. Girl, we about to have a great year.
Wow.
It's about to be good. It's about to be good. Not that there won't.
So here's the point where we expand into it, right? We just like with your reading, it's like expanding into, because you already knew you were on this course. Yeah. Yeah. It's about the belief. It's the belief that you have done all the work to now believe. And now, and it's all something I saw all along. And it's something we see all along. Other people will see it about you all along, but your reader will tell you the truth. The reader will tell you the truth because other people, sometimes they don't want to tell you the truth about what they see. They're too invested in you, but your reader will tell you the truth. Your counselor will tell you the truth. Woo, girl. I'm because the whole thing was exciting. I was like, I feel like I just watched a Netflix. You did a performance. Yes.
I wish I could. I'm probably got something from my teaching materials. I have never taught people the Celtic cross because, to be perfectly honest, there have been very few people that I've come across in my classes that I feel like even have the potential to get to anything like a Celtic cross. But this is why it's so awesome to, like Carrie said a couple of weeks ago, every woman should have a tarot deck and should have access to their chart. Because these are the things you go back to. You can start learning this stuff and helping other people with like insights on things the more you study yourself. Like it's a wonderful workbook. Forget, somebody else giving you the book. This is your book. This is for you. This is your glimpse into, what you can work with and interact with and look for. For an archetype head like me, oh my God, between the tarot and my astrology, like I'm looking for this stuff all the time. And that's where, when you hear people like us talk about signs and symbols, that's how you figure out what they are and what they mean.
Exactly. And you start to see it happen in your daily life. And you start to see there's that archetype. There's that guy that okay, there he is, and I do that. I love that you're giving me the tarot version of this because I know it all the time. It's like, oh, I'm calling in this type of guy. Here comes two guys I'm dating that are both Tauruses with Aries rising. I knew that, right? Like I knew I was calling in that energy and here they come, here they show up. So it's like, it's magic. And I also want to say for Black and brown women, for all women this year, your magic I'll say this with this podcast for Black and white women, brown women, for all women this year, it's a no woman left behind year, period. With you, when you're using your magic, it's no woman gets left behind because you go forward and then each one teach one. And you start showing it and then other women start seeing it and they start using your practices. And this is the whole point of us doing this podcast. So 2024, no woman left behind. Because the best woman is the woman with options, as Halleck said.
And as Carrie's getting ready to step into, of all the cards, girl, I can't think of any card I would rather have as my outcome card at the end of the year other than the Queen of Wands. I mean, even the High Priestess, I don't know how much I'd be down with that because that's just a lot of work. Like
girl, I'm done. I mean, I don't want to say I'm done, but like I've been the High Priestess. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's work. It's work. It's like, it's work. And even Queen of Wands, I'm learning from Halleck as I go along, but I'm learning. Queen of Wands, I think has more to do with more of the not superficial, but just like the outside, how people see you kind of thing. But the Duchess, woo. There was a K-drama, I love my K-dramas, okay? This one's not actually, there was a K-drama and it was called Little Women. It was Korean drama called Little Women. It was on Netflix. And it's phenomenal, by the way. You need to watch this, Halleck. It's not like the American version. It's just basically like three sisters who come into some money in some nefarious ways and how they manage to, knock all these kingpins out the way. There's a woman in there that plays like the rich auntie. Okay. And she's the one that got she's the Duchess. And I remember watching it and going, I want to be her. Like, I was just like, I want to be her because she, her sister had these three daughters and the sister was poor and all this. And then they had this rich auntie. And because the sister was so ashamed of her situation because she had chased some man and left her daughters and all this business, and they were all poor. the three sisters had to go to their rich auntie. And I remember watching that woman and the way she dressed and her poise and her money and also her wisdom. And I said, who cares about the rest? I want to be her, right? Like, who cares about, getting all cute and everything? I want to be her. And so, yes, everybody should watch that, by the way. So when you mentioned the Duchess, I was like, oh, there she is.
Mm-hmm. Our beloved Duchess of Sussex. There's she lives in a very interesting space. She does not have the responsibility and the bullshit that like working royals have to deal with. She gets to make her own decisions. She has options about where it is she's going. But is she still regal? Is she still aristocratic? Is she still abundant, prosperous, and giving and generous? The queen energy, that to me, that comes with responsibility, right? Like Queens of Cups, they kind of have an obligation. They've got an obligation to me to teach young women. As Queen of Wands, I feel like there's something it's a role, it's a responsibility, no matter what it is, right? Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, like you're just kind of a natural teacher. You have an obligation to teach. Carrie, I always probably think of you as more of a queen of, although you're so intellectual and businesslike, but you're dispensing this information. So to me, it's a little professorial, right? So I would think of you as I love my Queens of Swords. Like, and so you kind of have an obligation, right? To kind of teach people, even the way Carrie talks to people. Yeah, you're going to learn something from Carrie talking to her. I think about somebody like our good friend Sandy, Botanical Life. Sandy is an herbalist. Like she has this position in the community. People come to her for remedies and so she has to dispense knowledge. So the Duchess is different. She is a woman that controls her own time, her own pace. She spends her money as she pleases. She entertains and pleasures herself as she pleases, and she is protected. I love that wall with the grapes. She is protected and she's abundant. She's one of my favorites. So Carrie gets all of the pentacle cards. This
all the pentacles and all the grapes. All the grapes. Yes. Yes. I claim and receive.
Carrie, don't you feel like as a practitioner, sometimes the hardest part is respecting, like with you, I could just talk to you about stuff all the time, right? I can read cards for you all the time. We can keep talking all the time. It bleeds into our friendship and our conversation. For me, the hardest part about consultations is shutting the fuck up, like at the end of the hour. It is so hard for me. I would really love to talk to y'all about y'all's.
Because you keeps coming.
Right. Because what I want to do then is remediation. Like, and girl, when this happens, do this, or do this bath, or girl, when this happens, try this, like burn this candle, or do this, or something, but that's in general. I try to only do that for friends and family, but if you get me on a right day, y'all. What a pleasure. Carrie, this was so much fun.
This is so fun. I love this interaction with our crafts. Like, we love to do this work. We love it. I love it. And you can see Taliq loves it. We love talking about it. We've seen this magic and we've seen it work in our lives, and we want you to see it working at your life. So keep with us. Keep poking into that chart. Keep playing your cards. Please keep showing up for the magic and witnessing it, right? And be willing to feel it. Pluto in Aquarius is so much about letting go of the past and what we've been trained to believe. And this is the year where you get your freedom, basically. I love it.
You've been talking a lot about these massive systemic changes that we are going to be going through. In another 10 years, it'll seem like 10 or 20 years, it'll seem like, oh, things have always been like this. But I feel, and I want to know how you feel about this. And do you feel that people that are in tune to these things, that are in some way in tune to their intuition or follow these intuitive arts, is this going to be a little easier for those of us that are into that? Because I don't like change, and I don't like upheaval, and I mean, I like to be exciting and fiery, but like massive changes to the way I've always done things. Do you feel like us getting into this stuff helps us be able to manage it better? That we'll be able to, or what's your feeling about how we'll be able to manage it, dealing blind versus being in tune with some of these tools that we work with?
Well, I think I'm somebody who strongly believes in changing the dictionary. Let's just redo every word, because we're just touching the surface of what words mean, because the words are a feeling now in this age, and it's the intuition that comes with it. So I almost feel like we should be working with tones now instead of like actual words. Okay. That's how I feel. But so I want us to think about changing the word change. You were saying the word change is coming. And what we think of is like, I don't like change, right? But what if you changed the word change to freedom?
If these old rules, strictures, structures are broken and are falling away, right? Like the tower, right? Like swiftly falling down. Yeah, then what are we free to do? I think about children. I have a client now that's just like ringing me off the hook because it's time to start hearing about colleges. And I know this girl just wants to know where she's going to go to college, which is the answer is you're going to go to college where you're going. Like where you got into is where you're supposed to go, baby. Or it's what, or like where you got into, where you're supposed to go, or where you didn't get into, or where you're going is going to be a stepping stone towards what you have to be. But my younger clients, I find I love that this old way of doing things is finally it's finally falling down, because now you can do whatever the fuck it is you want to do. Like, it is not like you just have to get out of school, go to graduate school, work for 20 years and retire and stop working when you're 80. No, things can be and that. So when you say freedom to me, that's what it's feeling for me, right? Because if it's going from this is the strict definitions of words to feelings or a tone, that's the vibe and the tone.
Freedom from, and the fear that people are experiencing about that. What the hell does freedom feel like when you've not been born into it? Most of the people alive now, especially generations back, especially in this country, well, they're all kinds of countries, being born into society, being born into a civilization, being born into a system is captivity. It is. And even if it was what was created so that everybody could get along and all that stuff, right? So it wasn't just the Wild West, right? You're still adhering to rules and having to fit into boxes that maybe you don't fit into. And so what I am saying for everyone is that, yes, it will be like the tower. It will be like things crashing down, the things that you have built up a legacy. And, your whole identity was about, I have to get these things and then I'm going to be okay. Then I won't get booted off the island. Then I'm still, then I'm contributing to society. Well, if that society comes crumbling down, now you can be anything. And now you can contribute anyway. And so this is about altering your perception. That's freedom from your own perceptions of what was good, what was bad, what was successful, what was not, what was rich, what was poor. Like all your perceptions get blown out of the water and you get to make up your own. You get to make up your own book. So yes, 2024 will look like the tower, if you see it that way. I've often said things about AI, like AI is coming in a big way. And we definitely have seen it. Like once Pluto went direct after being retrograde all summer, it was like AI is everywhere. Where's it been? Because it's everywhere now, right? And it's going to be here. But we can be afraid of it, or we can say it's a tool for us to use so we can expand ourselves even further, even bigger. So use it as a tool. Don't just get afraid of change. Change is alter your perception of what change actually means. Start to change your own energy around it. Like, I'm excited for liberation. Oh my gosh, here comes another liberation. Guess I'm being liberated from this job. Guess I'm being liberated from this relationship. Guess I'm being liberated from this, family structure, whatever it is. And I think to answer your question about intuitives, the people who are willing to alter their perception, i.e. intuitives, because you have to, right? Especially intuitives that came before us that were just feeling like they were living in a crazy thought they were going crazy because they saw the world a certain way and none of that was reflected around them. They're the Gandalf, right? They have all the tea. They have all the tools. Okay. So yes, develop your intuitive gifts and you will fly through this. Literally. I wish everyone's got the opportunity. I wish it for everyone.
You were so right. And if it happens, actually I take that back. I don't know that it can happen all at once for some people. Like for some people, maybe it is like a movie, like where, all of a sudden one day I realize like, I can see spirits, or I can, like, for me, it has not been that way. It has been very slow, but my goodness, the power and the strength you have when you see beyond what is just in front. You know what I mean? When you see beyond just that one dimensional and you leave a meeting thinking, oh God, and the other person's like, wasn't that great? I'm like, nah, girl, no, wasn't nothing great about that. Like, did you not see A, B, and C? But then I think, oh, right. I'm looking at things like a hoodoo or a tarot reader, like reading the symbols and the shadow talk, right? Like the things that people aren't, they're not forthcoming with.
Think of it like when I always love to look at The Matrix, the movie The Matrix, which is entertainment, but I now see it as like a documentary. Literally now I'm like, you know what? I'm taking notes. But anyway, at the end of the movie where Neo is fighting and then he suddenly realizes, all the bullets coming towards him are just slowing down and he doesn't actually have to fight anymore because he's seeing a whole other world where he doesn't, like, he's able to see a whole nother world. He's reached another consciousness. And in that consciousness, he can slow down bullets. It's like, all you shift your consciousness about it, and now suddenly you can do anything. And suddenly none of these, gravity, inertia, all those laws mean nothing now. Even the threat, the villain, can't do anything because you just simply don't believe they can. So for Black and brown women especially, if we can stop looking at our villains, and just say, I don't believe you are as powerful. I don't believe you can do anything. Oh, thank you. I don't think you can do any of this. All this stuff you say you can do. I don't think so. I don't think you're powerful.
Girl, I'm so grateful you went back because I was like, Carrie, we're not going to just walk past what you said. Like, that wasn't a gem you didn't drop. Thank you for circling back and running it back and giving it to us again because that was very powerful.
Color Purple says that too, right? Like when she stopped believing he was a threat, he wasn't one anymore. It took a long time because we just didn't have the tools back then, but we do now. So when she stopped believing that she was born into a society that thought she was Black, she is, she's ugly, she's all these things. When she said, she stopped looking at that as being her cage. And she just said, I don't believe that anymore about myself. I don't believe that anymore about the world even. All that ceased to be. So this is work with your beliefs this year. That's going to be your superpower more than anything.
We love y'all. This has been amazing. Carrie, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I just want to say to our listeners, there's a lot of y'all, so can we fit everybody in? No. But please get into Carrie's world. Please get into my world. There's so much we can help you all with. There's so many insights that, may be a little difficult for you to unmind, but through your chart, like with your cards, with somebody that's actually intelligent and knowledgeable and talented, we can really help set you up to have some great things happen this year. And for young women, I'm a little focused on young women because I'm a mom of Rockstar Warrior Princesses. Ladies, this is a good time for those of you all in college, right out of college, trying to get, figure out how do we get the year started? What is it I want? Get in touch with us, please. Like, honestly, we have so much for so many of you. But man, the things we can help you maidens with is y'all get ready to get into that full flower of womanhood. There's so much. Like, it's kind of crazy. It's insane. And we can't wait to share with you all. Carrie, as you know, I can't say goodbye. So I'm going to hand it over to you to close us out. I love y'all. I'm going to be quiet. Carrie's got it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay close to us this year. Stay informed, like us, share us, follow us, create your tribe with us, like start your groups. Who's all listening every week to the Melanated Mystics? Do your heart work together. What are we on this week? Where's the astrological transits? What are we learning this week? What are we using? Just take us with you, put us in your pocket. Okay. We're going to do this together. So we're so excited to have started this first reading for you all of the two of us. Can't wait to do more for you. And I'm going to sign off with looking forward to an amazing, and I mean amazing, new year.
Bye, y'all. We love you, Melanated Mystics. See you next week.
We love you.